Howdy and welcome everybody. This is Future Forward. Today, the battle over TikTok and its weird history.
Then there's a game platform crisis, Epic versus Fortnite, and Apple all mixed in.
And finally, Facebook is finally banning political ads. Sort of.
I'm Alexis Cordato, and this is Future Forward.
I am Stephen Rosenbaum. Let us launch. Good morning, Alexa.
Good morning.
And welcome to our viewers and listeners who are joining us live. We are encouraging more conversation. We're on both YouTube Live and Facebook Live. So if you've got a question, comment, story you think we're missing, point we're not getting, just jump in there and we'll try and include everybody as we move along. All right. So we're going to start with TikTok. So this is an article that my colleague at the NYC Media Lab, Erica Matsumoto, wrote for her newsletter, Innovation Monitor. And for me, as something of a novice, it was the best kind of granular pull apart of where TikTok came from. Now, you seem to understand this stuff better than I do. Like you said you didn't find, well, all right. So let's just start at the beginning and we'll kind of take you through the history of TikTok, because I think once you understand it, it becomes clearer why it's important, urgent even.
Yep. So one of the predecessor to TikTok was a news aggregator and an entity called ByteDance.
And this was not a government, at least in its initial incarnation. It wasn't some secret Chinese government company. It was a kid, right? Like a developer kid.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it was, among other things, very different, for example, than Facebook. I mean, maybe that was the big aha moment, was that it was not in any way, shape, or form, follow what your friends are doing. Hey, your friends are reading this, so you should read this. Your friends like this. It was driven entirely by algorithmic review of user behavior, right, and then amplification of that.
So like the Facebook social graph is based off of who you know. So Facebook social graph might serve content up to me that say my friends like and share. So maybe I might get, I don't know, trying to think of maybe something, a 9/11 piece because Steve and Pam shared it on Facebook. Whereas with TikTok, I'm not getting that. I might actually get something based off of like an Atlantic story that I had previously clicked. So
as Erica writes, it's the here, I'll read it. So we'll begin with some of the best early English language literature on that. I don't even know how to pronounce it. Tao-Tu's success, the difference between content-driven recommendations and social graph recommendation systems. So part of why I find this kind of so deeply troubling is that I have casually, but for the last 10 plus years, been passionately about the idea that that the word curation, which is a word that I hold near and dear to my heart, it does not have an algorithmic comparable. That curation is is deeply human, and so the rise of TikTok flies in the face of my thesis. Troublingly so.
So have you used TikTok? Like, do you have it on your phone?
No.
So I'm surprised because you do usually try video platforms, right? Like Quibi and,
So at the risk of sounding naive, I just thought it was a dancing thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's easy to think that way. I actually don't use TikTok at all. And I feel like I see enough of the content from TikTok because it gets syndicated in other places. But one of the things that actually validated my desire to not be on TikTok was its content policy, specifically talking about ugly content.
By which they mean not to be too cute about it, ugly people.
Yeah, which was like
So,
horrifying to me. And so part of what they are promoting is like a standard of beauty, and it's almost like a influencer culture on steroids. Like if
all
you
right, but just to be fair, I mean, do you ever watch television?
mm-hmm.
So, not a lot of ugly people on television. I mean, Hollywood, whether it be reality shows or dramas or movies, tends to gravitate toward people that are attractive.
Yeah, but there's still people cast in different diverse roles or
Diversity,
reality TV.
well, hold on. Diversity and ugly. So a million gazillion years ago, I produced a pilot for a talk show, long time ago. And the production manager who we hired handed me the budget. And in the budget, there was a line item I'd never seen before. And it was for dentistry. And I did not understand said line item. And so I said to the production manager, is this a typo? And they said, oh, no, because we often cast ugly, they didn't say ugly, but that was the subtext, people that are missing front teeth, and television audiences don't like people missing front teeth. We put in temporary dentistry so that our guests all have front teeth.
Wow.
Yes.
I mean, I can see that. Yeah.
So I guess my point is I can think of lots of reasons to be bothered by TikTok. But anyway, so let's go. So this history thing. So it started with Toyota, and then there was an app called Douyin, and then somehow they kind of adopted what was this growing platform Musically. They didn't buy it, but they borrowed from it, right?
Yep.
You don't even hear about Musically anymore.
I don't. It was my first time reading about it. Actually.
Oh, Musically was a big deal. Musically was a big deal, and then TikTok. But TikTok, and by the way, we'll post the link to Erica's really thoughtful and detailed review of the history of TikTok, because even before we get to the battle in the U.S., it's important. And the media's, I think, simplistic review of TikTok, that it's essentially a Chinese government scam to scoop up user information. You read this and realize, it's clearly much more than that.
Right. I mean, it would sort of be like an oversimplistic way of describing Facebook as like a way for politicians to spread misinformation to manipulate election results.
Isn't that what it is?
Yeah, but the origin story is totally different.
Yeah. All right. So the thing about the TikTok story, and the thing that I guess I didn't know until I read Erica's kind of granular history of how it got to be here, and why it matters, is that it didn't come through any, it raised an enormous amount of money. The traffic was extraordinary from day one in all of its incarnations. And it raised an awful lot of money early without raising it through any of the standard Chinese funding mechanism, Tencent or
Alibaba.
And in fact, it raised money in the US, which maybe puts a little bit of a hole in the whole theory that it's a secret Chinese strategy.
Baidu, that was the third one.
Yeah, no Baidu money.
I had never actually heard the three companies used as like a acronym that way. Baidu, Alibaba, Tencent. That.
Yeah, I had not either. So now we're in a place where the U.S. decide. Yeah, well, I mean, I guess take the politics out of it for a second. Isn't the underlying algorithm kind of ingenious?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a real differentiator in terms of not like it makes sense.
So if I were spying on your, not just your browsing history, but the way your mouse behaved and what you hovered over and what you clicked on, I could feed back to you things that catch your eye.
Yeah, I mean it's not necessarily different than say the way Google Ads always worked. Like if you clicked on certain website links or search results, you could actually get retargeted with ads based off of those search terms or what you clicked.
So I've been in this multi-year hunt to get kitchen cabinet doors replaced.
Mm-hmm.
And it has resulted in a plethora of annoying kitchen cabinet door ads. And you probably will see them as we go through some of these articles we're going to look at. You'll be like, why is Steve looking at kitchen cabinet? It's a odd search term. But how does this go sideways? Why is this just not another random social network of people dancing?
Oh man. I mean, in a simple in a simple form, it's like true of all algorithms, right? It's like they're programmed, right? So algorithms gone wild. And to your
So,
point about like curation being very like human and authentic, right? Like it's potentially over programmed and perpetuating certain ways of consuming content or a certain style of content.
so how do you think this shows up on Donald Trump's radar? I mean, I think I know it's a rhetorical question because I think I know the answer.
Go for it.
So TikTok users decide that they're going to uh, buy tickets to a Donald Trump rally. This is in the midst, when the pandemic was more visible in the media than it is now, for reasons that we could talk about another day. And so they all seem to encourage each other to go and buy tickets to a rally they have no intention of attending. And
Mm-hmm.
it shoots the rally ticket sales numbers through the roof. So everyone on the Trump team starts getting all excited about, we're going to have 1 million people at this rally. And the TikTok users all just chuckle amongst themselves and say, essentially, you go buy ticket, go. The tickets were free. Go sign up for tickets and then just don't attend. And that I think is the first time that TikTok shows up on the dashboard of the Trump political operatives as, wow, this is a lot of young people screwing with our campaign.
Yep.
And Trump's reaction is to say, I'm banning you from the US, arguably because there's a security breach of some sort.
Right. It's sort of like, oh, they don't like me, so I'm gonna like put this out.
But how does that work in real life? Does that mean that like every product that Tencent has invested in, every app that has to be banned in the US? Like how do you go down that role of keeping Chinese investment out of US tech companies?
I actually don't understand that. Like even when I was reading about the like Microsoft and Walmart desire to buy it, I don't have enough understanding of how like the investment structure works.
So I'm putting up on the screen. I don't know where it went. This is what Erica recommends. It's a podcast called The TikTok Flip Flop. What's the president's power over foreign companies? This is I think a pretty good primer on the answer to that question. Like, can he do that? Can he do that from the Washington Post? I mean, we know the answer to that question, which appears to be yes. Yep. Although I still don't. I will have to listen to this. I will listen to this podcast today and report back in the comments the answer to the question: can he do that? But meanwhile, there was a weird kind of, so TikTok seemed like it was going to be for sale. then it looked like Walmart was buying it. Then I don't remember who, but somebody essentially said that's not a hip enough buyer, so it's got to be Microsoft and Walmart. And then
Yeah.
Oracle got involved, right? Because
Why not?
why not? But there was some issue about whether or not they were selling the brand or the underlying algorithm.
Yeah.
And it turns out the answer is maybe they can't sell the algorithm.
Right.
Isn't this the ultimate government whack-a-mole? Like, doesn't this just never work?
Yeah, I mean, we've had a challenge with the government regulating our own tech domestically, right? Like the FANG companies. And so the thought of doing it with a foreign platform, I don't know. I just feel like a combination of understanding of the technology itself, the complications around stakeholders and parties involved financially, and understanding like the assets. I don't know.
I might have to download TikTok. I'm going to add that. No, what's it going to get? What's the creepy thing? Like what you think it's going to, if I don't use it, if I just look at it, what's it going to, it's going to creep into my phone and
No. You might actually love it. Like I think some of the memes and sort of the challenges on TikTok are so creative, and it actually is one of the more joyful platforms I've seen in years. Like it takes me back to like early days of YouTube when people were creating content because they loved the internet for self-expression.
Interesting. So it's joyful but creepy.
I don't even know if it's creepy because it's not. Again, it's not the social graph.
Okay, but I just said I'm going to download TikTok, and you made a face.
Because it's my love-hate relationship with technology and anything that's sort of addictive in nature.
Yeah, I don't have that problem. I'm not going to be addicted. You can trust that I will not be addicted to TikTok.
Well, do you get the screen alerts on your phone? I think I'm just trying to cut back on screen time in general.
When you cut back on screen time, what do you do? Never mind. It's another. The cutting back on screen time should be another whole pod. All right. So let's just pause this here. I'm going to download TikTok because you made a face, which I tend to be encouraged by negative feedback. So
no, I mean, if you're curious about it, you should go see it.
Well, no, the only TikTok I think I've seen, to be honest, is Kellyanne Conway's daughter.
Oh, no. There's like a lot of really.
Oh, no. That one was really good.
Okay. Oh, yeah. That one. Okay. I know you're
Yeah, that
about.
was the one that got Kellyanne Conway out of the White House, theoretically.
Yeah.
Her 15-year-old daughter deciding to be a political activist against her mom.
Yeah.
A different topic, but a good one nonetheless. All right, so let's move on to this gaming thing, because again, the title of this pod might be the Steve doesn't understand shit episode.
All right. I can recommend. There is an epic documentary on Netflix. And so if you do want to kind of understand the culture around Epic and sort of pre-Fortnite, I could definitely recommend it.
Yeah, please.
So Epic is the company that produces the game Fortnite. And so Fortnite is it's popular because it's like a world. It's like a different dimension. And so I'm not sure like if you played Roller Coaster Tycoon, Age of Empires, or even like Sims. Did you ever play The Sims back in the day?
Define played. I mean, do I know what it is? Yes. Yeah. Did I use it once?
Okay, but if you can understand like why did people like playing Sims, it's sort of like Fortnite is an extension of that.
All right, so definitely send me the link. We'll add it to the show notes. That you're saying there's a documentary on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, brief plug. Reed Hastings' new book comes out on Tuesday about him and the story of Netflix. Great article in the New York Times yesterday with an interview with him. fascinating, world-changing, game-changing person and company.
Yeah.
Can't say I recommend the book because I haven't read it yet, but as soon as I read it, I will recommend it or not. But I think I probably will.
Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead.
No, so I was just going to say that, like, Epic is, Fortnite is incredible as sort of like a gaming universe space. I don't play Fortnite, but I have cousins who do. And when sort of at like Fortnite players talk to me about it, they just say it's a great way to escape. It's a great place to hang out with my friends. It offers sort of entertainment in a way that other games don't, right? It's not like, don't think of it as like a quest or something where you're like fighting monsters. Think of it as more like the virtual playground where kids go to see their friends.
All right. So explain to me about the Fortnite Apple. Why did Apple take Fortnite down?
So the Apple's store policy says that 30%, they will take a 30% cut of all in-app purchases. And so Epic was trying to circumvent that. And so that created a flag for Apple. About two thirds of all Fortnite users use iOS, which is Apple's operating system, to actually access Fortnite. And it's a freemium model. And so I think, without going into like the details of the game or Apple or whatever, like the best way I could explain this is like, say, Steve, you had the Steve curation app on the Apple Store. All you wanted to do is curate, show links, and aggregate content that you find interesting. And if you want people to actually buy, say, I don't know, Steve's premium newsletter for $10 a month, Apple would take $3 of what you sell in that app. So Fortnite was like, Fortnite/Epic, they're like, we think that's crazy. Let's like find a way to go around that. And so there are ways where in the Fortnite game, they could actually direct people and their users to like buy things almost like outside the game.
So first of all, let's roll this back. My understanding of the gaming world broadly is that it is far more PC-centric than Apple-centric. So if Fortnite, which is wildly popular, has the bulk of its traffic on Apple, that says something about what Fortnite users are like. They're not, now I'm going to get in trouble and the comments are going to go nuts on me, but like they're not gamers.
Well, they don't require necessarily the computing power where you need, a PC processing power. You don't need to build like a souped up computer in order to play it. So I think at the end of the day, Epic is positioning itself as sort of like, we are willing to fight the good fight against the big guy, Apple, because their store policy is bad. 30% is a lot. That's sort of like the underlying argument. Anyway, there's just been a lot of back and forth, and as a result of it, like Apple also supposedly, according to Epic, has revoked their developer license, like their ability to release and develop games and apps for a year. And they actually Epic Games knew what they were doing, in the sense that once they sort of got banned from the Apple Store by trying to circumvent that 30%, they already had a lawsuit waiting to go. So it's like they knew what they were doing. They were going to poke the bear, and then they were going to sue the bear.
Sue the bear. Yeah, there's got to be inside Epic an actual plan, which is maybe to move people off of Apple and onto a PC platform or a web I don't even know. I mean, because at some level, why do they care about the 30%?
I mean, I don't know how much of this is like PR speak, but like it's sort of like standing up for independent game creators everywhere, in the same way that Taylor Swift stood up to Apple when it came to the licensing her content and the distribution around it. And that was sort of her taking a stance on behalf of musicians and the entire music industry.
All right, but from Epic's standpoint, 30% of their top line revenue versus having no revenue for a year while they go back and forth with Apple, like that. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna have to read the suit.
Well, it kind of just boils down to like, Apple is such a dominant channel, right? What other choices do you have other than to list your game there? And then the fact that the fee and sort of cost to entry is that high, it feels like there are no options. And that's what happens when you have a monopoly or a company as dominant as Apple really controlling the dynamics around an industry. I mean, you would say the same thing with other platforms too that have like significant market penetration. Every single time you order from a local restaurant on Seamless, you're taking 30% of the restaurant's margin away from them.
So 30% is the number that is freaking everybody out.
Mm-hmm.
All right. This is interesting. All right. So let's move on to the last topic of today's pod, which is Facebook's decision to ban political ads.
Did this surprise you, this article?
I think things are wildly out of control.
In what way?
I don't believe that that Zuckerberg, let's talk about Mark specifically. I don't think that Mark wakes up in the morning and says, yay, I built a platform that amplifies hate speech and right-wing extremists and racists and misogynists and, people that want to, lobby for the violent overthrow of the government, of cities. I don't believe that he's inherently a right-wing freakazoid.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that this thing that he is, I think there's some core philosophies to Facebook's business. I mean, I'm not saying anything that you haven't heard from much smarter people than me, but the idea that his whole business is based on engagement, and engagement is fueled by objectionable content. I mean, your nice pictures of your summer vacation or your dog or your baby or your mountain climbing expedition don't do nearly as well algorithmically as hateful garbage.
Yeah.
So, if I said to you, you could donate $5 a week and stop hate speech, would you donate $5 a week?
Probably.
If I said to you, you could stop hate speech, but we're going to turn off the electricity and the food in your refrigerator and the air conditioner, and we're going to fill your house with rotten egg smell all day, would you do that?
No, definitely not.
Right. So they're being asked, the thing they're being asked to fix, fundamentally craters their business as it currently exists.
Yeah, but so this is what I actually didn't understand. It's almost like, why now? And too little, too late. We talked about this maybe months ago, right? When Twitter sort of took a stance on sort of misinformation on their platform. Yep. And we said that the percentage of revenue, right, that political ads make against Facebook's bottom line was negligible, right? It was 6%.
Facebook or Twitter?
Political ads on Facebook make up 6% of their total revenue. So I feel like at the time we were both saying why would Facebook still continue to perpetuate this? Like, just let go of the 6% because like it doesn't even really hurt them.
So I think the answer to that, and there are smarter people in our audience who can jump in here, but like, first of all, you have to remember Facebook is a global platform. So the US, while in our world we think of it as a US company, it actually is far more of a global company. There are political conflicts all over the world. They're very complicated. Knowing what side to be on in any of hundreds of countries is impossible. And knowing what a political post is also, let's take away Facebook ads for a moment. So if you post on your Facebook page, I support Joe Biden, and your friends all say, or a friend of yours comes back and says, I support Donald Trump. How would they possibly, where's the line between reasonable conversation and political speech? I mean,
but it's not even about speech. It's actually just about the ad. In
order
to
nobody likes this proposal. This is an article from ProPublica, and it basically says Facebook's going to ban political ads for the last week of October, and everyone's kind of collective reaction was like, yawn, like really,
right?
Like particularly since we now have early voting and we've got mail-in ballots. I mean, like the election started, folks. Mm-hmm. Like people are voting today.
Right.
I voted 3 times today.
The example they used was like,
I did not vote 3 times today.
Well, they needed to. The example they use is like, okay, when the hurricane hit, how do you quickly communicate to voters sort of more real time information? For me, I'm just like, I would rather be pretty binary on this issue and just have like nothing political on Facebook than gradients of politics.
So you would ban people's ability to speak freely, not by advertising, but speak freely about politics?
No. I'm saying that the ads themselves, I'm okay, but like in a group or whatever, like fine, game on.
All right. Well, I will send that message off to my friends and see what they say. But I guess in real life, I will only tell you that on one of the pages that I operate on Facebook, the volume of hateful rhetoric has gone up so dramatically in the last 3 weeks. Just like to the point at which I'm shocked by it.
And what I think it really gets dangerous is when someone can take $500 and take the most hateful comment and then amplify it. Or like take that message and then put it in an ad and then target, specific populations with it.
I got an ad targeted at me about Donald Trump's Austin-based boat parade and the boats that sank on Lake Travis yesterday.
Really?
Yeah. There's a whole parade of Trump supporters with MAGA flags, and a whole bunch of them sunk. No one was injured, to the best of my knowledge. But everyone liked the analogy of the sinking boat.
Yeah.
All right. So we've not answered the Facebook question. We helped a little bit on TikTok, and on Epic, you're going to send me, and I'm going to add to the show notes the documentary, which I will then watch this evening. So you just rarely do our podcasts leave me with homework, but I have to add TikTok to my phone for the 3 weeks it's going to exist. By the way, let's end on this note. If you were a betting woman, what do you think's going to happen? What's going to happen to TikTok?
I think nothing's going to happen. I think there's too much other stuff going on. I think people are tired.
Bad time to be tired. We're just getting started. So you think if the president of the United States says, I'm, quote, banning TikTok, So the first thing he would do, I mean, I guess he would send a message to Apple and Google Play and say, this app must be taken down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I guess who would do that? The chairman of app regulation at the federal government, the FTC,
If
maybe?
the FTC, yeah, Federal Trade
Have
Commission.
they ever taken an app off of Apple?
Not that I can think of
Yeah, I
off the
don't
top
think
of
so
my head.
either. I think that would be, I mean, I keep waiting for like EFF or, one of the, or ACLU or somebody to step in here, but the China
Yeah.
thing makes it harder.
Yep.
All right. All righty then.
All
We have
right.
solved all the world's problems on this fine Sunday morning. Have a great rest of your holiday weekend.
All right. You too, Steve.
See you soon.